To educate a girl is to educate a nation. What does that mean to you?
Good. To me, I will respond to that question in this way. An empowered, an educated girl will most certainly make education a priority to all her children, both boys and girls. And an educated girl will feel empowered to show love, because I don't know why I'm biased, but I want to believe, having been raised by very compassionate women in my life, I think women have genuine, most touching love. And sometimes I feel like they don't feel empowered enough to show their love to the people that they truly love. So I think like an educated woman will most certainly look for opportunities within the communities that can also empower those that they truly care about.
You are listening to the Global CTE Podcast with your host, Sylvester Chisom.
Welcome, my friend, to another episode of the Global CTE Podcast. I am your host, Sylvester Chisom. This is the place where I interview the best, the brightest, the movers, the shakers, and the innovators. Today is an exceptional day. I have my friends coming all the way from Kenya to share all about the exciting education innovations that are happening. I have Mr. Magaga Enos here with us, and he's brought along two amazing students, alumni that he's mentored and that are doing outstanding things, shaping the direction of education innovation for girls in Kenya, Tatyana Bella and Rebecca Naisimoi Parrott. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Magaga. Okay, Magaga is a Kenyan educator and global advocate for educational transformation, STEM learning, and girls empowerment. As the STEM lead educator at Beads for Education, he has pioneered programs that have inspired 400 plus girls to pursue STEM fields. He's also the director of Full STEAM Forward Kenya, where his work has increased girls' participation in STEM by 40% across multiple schools. Beyond that, Magaga serves as the 100 country lead for Kenya, spotlighting Kenyan innovations on a global scale. His passion is aligning education with economic empowerment and job creation, ensuring that young women gain the skills and opportunities to shape Africa's future. And today, as I said earlier, we're joined by two of Magaga's former students who are living proof of his impact. Now, let me tell you about Tatyana. She's an aeronautical engineer student at the Technical University of Kenya. Tatyana's passion for innovation and problem solving and STEM was shaped by her time at Beads High School, where she was mentored by Magaga. She now carries forward lessons of resilience, innovation, and cultural identity in STEM as she navigates the world of engineering. Now, a little about Rebecca, a dedicated education student at Kabarak University. Rebecca is passionate about mentorship, sustainability, and environmental advocacy. She has participated in education programs at Yale, presented petitions on environmental conservation, and even helped author a book on climate change with the support of Ashaka changemakers and world readers. She continues to advocate for sustainable practices, environmental education, and policy changes to create lasting impact. Listen, this is going to be an incredible conversation on education, economic empowerment, and the power of mentorship and all the innovations happening in Kenya. Magaga, Tatyana, Rebecca, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm so excited to have this conversation with you all. I want to say thank you, Magaga. I know we had some scheduling conflicts trying to figure this out between your busy travel schedule, but we made it happen. And thank you for bringing two of your bright students from Kenya to share their stories and their journey. Before we go too far, Magaga, I want to know, what's your origin story? How do you get into doing this work?
Thank you so much for having me. And I feel honored. Normally when I have to talk about matters of education, I feel it is not complete until we have the people we are talking about, that's the young people. So I feel really honored to be accompanied by my former students. Well, My origin story has to do with my childhood experiences growing up, and particularly with my mom. I am brought up by a single mom who is a lovely, dedicated, strong woman who, despite all odds, stood strong to ensure that I'm here today. So through her abilities to make ends meet and had strong desire to be a teacher, which she couldn't because of the then cultural barriers to girls' education. She could only be taken to school up to grade 9. But when her brother was old enough to school-going age, she was told, well, you got to step aside and give room for your brother to continue education. And she really wanted to be a teacher. And I think that is because everything she saw around her was teachers, inspiration from teachers that she actually could spend time with. Now, between mom and son, conversations all the time, mom always reminded me how she really wanted to be a teacher. And guess what? That's when I found myself approaching my mom and telling my mom, don't you worry, I'm going to be an amazing teacher. Right. And Sylvester, yeah, I am a teacher right now. Thank you for asking me that story.
I love it. I love it. You know what? Since you brought up mom, I'm curious, what's one piece of advice that she shared with you that you still lead with today?
Wow. She said, if you see the need, build the solution. Just that. If you see the need, build the solution. And I'm trying to live to that. Yeah. I'm trying to live with an open mind and an inquisitive mindset to actually look and identify the need and don't just stop there. Work towards building the solution. And thank you for that question.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's always, it's funny how like when I have guests on, like mom or grandma, there's always some wisdom that we're still running with today that leads our path. So I really like that. Find a need, build a solution, and you're truly doing that in every way. And let's set the landscape so people understand. Work with beads, education.
Right.
Can you share a little about the organization? What's the mission? What's that all about? So people understand what's happening in Kenya.
Great. So for nearly a decade right now, I have served as a STEM lead educator at Beads for Education. So Beads for Education is a nonprofit education that is empowering vulnerable Maasai girls from Kenya through quality education. So this was founded long in 1991, and the name Beads comes from the cultural practice of Maasai women doing beadwork, making bracelets and selling them for money. So the director for Beads for Education, Debbie Rooney, who is a United States citizen, came to Kenya and loved safari a lot. So when she was touring the environs of Masai Mara or Amboseli, the known destination for tourist attraction sites, she could see young girls coming to sell the beaded work, while she, in any other average person mindset, thought that these girls could have been in school. But then she was like, why are you here selling when you should be in school? And then the girls were like, we are helping our mothers. So the mothers were like in a group making the beadwork, and the girls were going to sell to the guests, to the, tourists. And then Debbie, in her wisdom and knowledge and desire to help at that time, made a deal with the Maasai women. Hello, ladies. I am going to help you help yourselves. And how so? You are going to continue making the beadwork, and I'm going to find you a market where you can sell them at a very good price. Well, the promise that any extra proceeds or profits you make, you're going to use that to send your girls to school. Do we have a deal, or can you talk about this? And they're like, let us think about it. And then they could think about it. And then, yes, we have a deal. So beading, making money, using the money to send girls to school. That is Beads for Education. Do you get the story?
I love it.
And at some point, quick fast forward, this was not sustainable. And she was like, at that time, unfortunately, she could not visit the schools, the public schools. The girls were sent to any of the public schools around, and she could not visit to actually witness what's going on. But when she was able to, she was not satisfied with the kind of education that was going on. It was much of rote memorization, singing songs. After this, there was not enough time for students to digest or interact with the learning content. So this rose another question. How can we improve this? Because the idea was to give these girls quality education so they can feel empowered and empower their communities, do active roles in their communities. But this was lacking. So fast forward, Tembea beats high school, where we have Tatyana, Rebecca, and so many other girls. I think that campus has got 130 girls every year in a session. This school was founded in 2013. That's the school where Magaga is a STEM lead educator. So for the Maasai communities, to give you just a small brief context, the girls to come to school in our Kenyan culture, the girls wear uniform. Just putting on a school uniform is a great achievement.
Wow.
It is a great achievement. But I think, so my role starts right there. Okay, now they're here. They have these uniforms. How do we ensure the education they are getting here is quality enough to make sure that these girls are empowered, voices, their choices, their leadership skills, creativity and innovative, and also problem-solving skills. So that is when my department comes in. My role is to ensure our science curriculum is enhanced to include the key skills that these girls need, and many more, including empathy, love for nature, and just critical thinking, self-advocacy skills, and problem-solving skills. So we deliberate on this and also enhance the science curriculum to include also marine biology. So far, I think we are the only high school in Kenya that has got marine biology offered at high school level. Wow. We have astronomy, and we have what we call conservation, and also we have also had leadership skills training within high school, because we think that if we stand a chance to revolutionize and empower girls, then we have to make sure the skills they get at schools are adequate enough to make them not only feel empowered, but believe that indeed they are empowered. So yes, that's where I am at Beats for Education. But I think I have expanded my role to include lots of other activities. For instance, I run an advocacy program with the other schools altogether within my community, like 7 schools. Some of them include primary schools. And this comes as a realization when I am inspiring girls at high school level, the likes of Tatyana and girls of our age, that is 13 to 18. I came to a point where I asked myself, what if this inspiration could have started at a younger age, when these girls were a little bit young at primary school level? And yes, that was a need. So that informed me to walk to different primary schools through a program called Full Steam Forward, and have the high school girls accompany me to also help talk to teachers and inspire young learners, young girls and boys to love science. So apart from Beats for Education, I also ran that as advocacy program, which also leads into yet another program, also coming after realization of how to make STEM more appealing to girls. I learned about how to integrate arts in teaching of sciences. And again, I also thought this is something that should not only be confined to high school, but also primary schools. So I also ran an arts advocacy program with 5 primary schools within my community. Thank you.
Wow, you are a very busy man. I love it. I think it's something powerful when we're working on something bigger than ourselves, the impact. You really find that success and happiness, and I can just see how your excitement and energy for this work is incredible. Tatyana, that brings me to you, a past alumni of Beats for Education. Tell me about your experience working in STEM at Beats for Education. Tell me, what was that like for you?
Okay, first, I'm so honored to be a part of this.
Thank you.
So I can say, actually, my interest in STEM started at elementary school, but I didn't have like a motivator to tell me that that's possible and I can do it. Since like in our Maasai community, education is always like it's a big thing, and mostly financial issues. So if finances are found, the first people to be prioritized are the males. So you'll find most of the girls would just go through elementary school, and then high school chances are very low. So through Debbie, I got the opportunity to join Bids for Education, and that's where I got motivated, like, yes, you can do it and you can be in STEM. So when I was at Bids, I met very inspiring people like Mr. Magaga and the director of Bids for Education, Debbie herself. As I know, as I could converse with most of my cousins who are males that were able to join high school, they would tell me on how they used to learn. It's just memorizing textbooks. The system doesn't really care if you understood it. They just want you to have the facts in your hand. So at Bids, that's very different. You find that they value our speech. Sometimes Magaga was my teacher, and sometimes he will tell us these facts might be wrong. The facts in the textbooks, who has told you they're right? You can think outside it and maybe come up with something and proves. So at Bids, we were allowed to say out our thoughts, and that is actually good. And that's something that's different from what people in other schools actually got. So at Bids, I got to understand more about STEM and just understand everything about it. Like, I had an opportunity to understand engineering. At first, I could think that engineering is just about formulas, equations, and building things. But at Bids, where we got to do a lot of projects like the solar oven project, we got an opportunity to understand that STEM careers like engineering, it's not just about building things, it's about having an impact in the real world. So yeah, I'm so grateful for Bids that enabled me to continue with my passion for STEM.
That's so powerful, Tatyana, and I'm so proud of you for being that innovator and knowing that other girls behind you will look to you as a source for inspiration as you continue on your journey. So I understand it. You all are telling me the focus is on the boys getting education as it relates to, the community. And it's not a big chance for girls to even go to high school, let alone college.
Yeah.
Wow. And if
it's a stereotype.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Magaga. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You going to say something? Is that changing? Is that starting to change?
Right. I just wanted to paint for you a picture and give you some key statistics for Kenya. Like, for instance, Kenya is a very interesting country. We have the youth population that is between ages of 15 to, yes, the youth population constitutes 80% of the Kenyan population, 80%. And we are talking of 57.5 million individuals. And there's a rate of unemployment that is 40% of youth are unemployed. And the reasons, according to the United Nations Population Fund, that is from 2023, the reason for this high rate of unemployment is the mismatch of skills among these young people who graduate from universities, high schools, universities, to the job market. There is not great skills for that. And so just by understanding that the 80% of the population are young people, it represents a very powerful resource for future economic growth that requires targeted employment and also personal development opportunities. Because when we talk about education, we are imagining education as a tool for economic empowerment. But look at this. Out of the total youth that are unemployed, 60% of them are women. 60% are women. And again, it is tied to the lack of skills among this segment of the population. Why is that? Because if there are any girls get interested in STEM fields, they are the technical areas. So the few who get the opportunity to get to school would rather side with other less technical courses. But we know because as educators, we must also awake to the global trends. Technology is taking pace very quickly. And so, and the jobs are soon being taken over by technology advancement, which is something that we need to adapt to inevitably. So if less girls are going to the technical field, STEM careers and everything, then it means whatever employment that is there in future is going to be phased out by technology. They're not going to get any jobs. So I think this paints a picture why people, and when I say people, everyone who has anything to contribute, educators, stakeholders, community members, should think how to secure a better future. And this starts by empowering the both sexes, empowering a greater percentage of our very strong part of the population, that's the youth, including girls and women. Let me narrow these statistics down to the Maasai community. Now, Maasai community is a community where we think about girls as taking very passive roles in taking care of the children at home, walking long distances for water, walking long distances to fetch firewood, and taking care of the cattle in terms of they're the ones doing the milking. The most economic activity is they are pastoralist community. And so the ladies, girls are expected to do the milking, while the boys take care of, maybe could do herds of, could take care of, could go to school. And why is that? They believe is when boys go to school, they will be in a position to take care of the women. So women are supposed to be taken care of by the men. That is the thought. So the limited resources are dedicated to sending men to school, but doesn't stop that. The painful thing is that even ladies who are not being sent to school, they're not just being left there to enjoy the comfort of the family. They are subjected to forced early marriages at very young age to men who are almost 3 times their ages. And why is this happening? Because when they are married off, the dowry, that is a bride price, is a source of wealth to the family. So ladies are seen as sources of wealth to their families, their parents, their fathers who arrange these marriages. That is very unfortunate. When you think the story ends there, wait until you hear what's coming next. Female genital mutilation, which unfortunately is believed to prepare girls to be better wives. So when you undergo FGM, you become a good wife, which we must work towards dispelling that belief, because it is a belief that robs girls of their dignity. So when we talk about what we do at BEATS, we are beyond just impacting quality education to girls, but also working towards making sure that they have their dignity intact, and they can also get dignified jobs and create some in the process. So the idea is not just to go through education and get a good job. Think about it. We have a very big population. Even if they're not their jobs, they're not enough for everyone. So can we think about also using education as a tool to help them also be entrepreneurs, create job opportunities, and impact their communities? Thank you.
Wow. So Magaga, I'm curious, do you have challenges convincing the parents to send your girls to high school versus the alternative of sending them off to an arranged marriage? How do you get past those conversations to get enrollment into the school?
Definitely. So I like the approach that I found happening at BEATS when I got my first contract or opportunity to work with BEATS for Education. I think there is so much wisdom in this approach. So BEATS for Education works with the Maasai leaders.
Okay. They
strike a relationship with the Maasai leaders, the Maasai warriors, which at the beginning are men who take back sessions, seminars, trainings to understand the need for girls to be educated. Now, through these leaders, that our staff get opportunities to go to the Maasai communities and further hold conversations or meetings that are tailored to further stress the importance of educating. Now, at the very beginning, leaders help us in these ways. They help us identify the girls who are at the most risk. And then using the local authorities as let's say the assistant chiefs, we identify these girls and bring them, and they report to BITS, and then we work together and with the local authorities that help us to get these girls to school. Now, that is quite a friction at the beginning. So the next step is, we don't want these girls to have the idea that home is not a safe place. So the next step is, how do we nourish that relationship? So we have tailored project ensure that relationship between the girl and the father who wanted to marry her off gets nourished. So here we have got community projects, like we identify the community enterprises next closest to the girl's home. And we initiate relationships where we ask for opportunities for these girls to act as a shadow or internship. So the fathers, the parents can see the value in a girl, because when they do something and the people say, oh, look at her, she's an amazing thing. What's happening? So the father can try to appreciate that, well, there is value in her. Secondly, we have this project we call a medicinal garden, a section within our school that we dedicated to planting medicinal plants. But these medicinal plants, we cannot get information about them until these girls go back to their communities and interview their parents, their grandparents, and in the communities, and detail down in their journals how these plants help cure which diseases and what is their prescription. So this exercise also help these girls nurture their relationships with their communities. And we ensure too that once they are from BITS High School, they get to colleges, their first placement would be close to their community, so that at least the community can see the value in girls' education. So yes, there are challenges, but also realize the challenges, you ask for reasons or ways you can learn, opportunities for growth in that. I think we'll be doing so great in that.
Thank you for sharing that level of insight. So Tatyana, Rebecca, with so many girls dealing with not being able to go to high school, not being able to go to college, dealing with being married off early and genital mutilation, like, how do you all feel as the girls who are having this opportunity to explore your education to higher levels?
Personally, I feel so much privileged because I'm one of the ladies who is a living testimony of the successful help of BITS and, me coming to the university, which is a very rare thing back in my community. I've witnessed girls getting married off and are going FGM. Personally, I was also to go through that, and I feel so sorry for them, and it is actually very painful, which I think is not the correct thing to do. And one thing I desire later on in life, after being successful in my career, is getting back there, which I have started actually doing, and telling them that it is not okay to marry off girls at a young age, because we are actually very capable of bringing change to our world today. Girls are the change we all are yearning for. And through education, when girls get empowered, they become the best in the society, and they do really, really great. So that is one of the things I'm looking forward to, seeing very many other girls not getting married off, not going through FGM, but getting out here, grabbing the opportunities like that being given by BITS for education, and coming to get educated, after which they'll go back to the communities and impact.
Oh, that's incredible. Tatyana, would you like to add anything to that?
Yeah, I'd just like to be so thankful for the opportunity that I got. Many people haven't managed to get such opportunity. And what I'm saying is that in every day it's expanding. So the more it's expanding, the more opportunities more girls are getting, and I'm so grateful for that. Also, programs like Magaga's, that one for full STEAM forward. Many girls, even in elementary school, are being educated on the importance of them studying, and they can go talk to their parents. a parent is a parent. At the end of the day, they just have that empathy of, this is my child, I must listen to them and I want the best for them. So as time goes by, I'm seeing a lot of girls getting educated in my community, and I'm so happy for that.
That's so amazing. I'm curious if it's okay, if you all are open to sharing, how do your parents feel that you all have graduated high school and Tatyana, you're studying aeronautical engineering, and Rebecca, you're so focused on climate change and all of these different innovations. Are your parents proud?
Yeah, they are proud. Yeah, they're actually proud. They never thought that education could be significant in a girl's life. But as they look at what we are becoming, they're so proud of us, and they want more of their girls to get educated.
And that's awesome. I'm very proud. I'm like, really, you guys are making me emotional over here. I'm like so excited for you all and to know the change makers that I have on this call right now. I'm excited just to be even in your presence, Tatyana and Rebecca. As I know you all are innovators, Tatyana, we talked about it earlier. Rebecca, I want to bring your voice in on this. Talk to me about the work you did with a petition and planting trees as it relates to climate activism. Can you share some of the work that you led in that way?
Yes, I can share about that. Thank you so much. So let me first of all say this, that for a lady to actually get out there and be on the front line to advocate for an issue of, for this case, climate change is very, very rare. And, the community elders cannot just sit down and listen to you. So it actually takes courage. It actually takes the support of my teachers. Like, for instance, Mr. Magaga, he was one of the very great teachers who actually stood with me in this. So now having the passion of, trying to stand up for this and, be one of the people to solve the problem of climate change, not only in my community, because apparently it is an issue that is affecting all of us globally. So I went there and I wanted to create awareness about this issue, which I learned in school. And, how did I have to do this? Going to every house, door to door, talking to both the men and women, presenting myself with lots of respect, so at least they could give me a listening ear. And, after telling them that you can see that our cows are dying, we are starving, the animals are not in good conditions, our farms, our crops are drying off. We need to do something about it. And, this can only be solved if we all come together, if we collect our petitions, take them to the parliament so that they can be presented, and the government can help us, in coming up with a solution for this. And, the chiefs, the old men, the women, they all agreed with me. And, I was actually in a position to actually gather them together, talk to them together with my teachers. And, they all signed petitions, of which I went forward, presented it to my member of parliament, who helped present it in parliament. Then after that, we were able to grow lots of trees in my area, and everyone took part in it. So I felt that that was a huge milestone that was only brought about by my parents, really, even though my father was not into the idea of me going to school, but my mom stood firm with me and allowed me to go to school, after which, getting the education on climate change, I came back and brought the change to them. So,
wow. So it really worked out for the entire community by allowing Rebecca to go to school, receive this knowledge, support for the inspiration to come back as a community change agent. That is such a powerful story. Aga, you want to add anything to that? Like the power of critical thinking I'm hearing that you guys are leading at Bees for Education. Yeah. This is next level.
This is what gives Magaga the energy that people see in Magaga. This is what gives me that moral satisfaction when I witness at firsthand the kind of impact that we are making as a community, as Bees for Education. Rebecca's story is quite inspirational. It got the attention of a shortcut change makers, and in partnership with the world readers who published Rebecca's right now, her book, her story is in the Wild Readers website, and it's big young children. It's just children's book. A young Maasai girl saw the need in the community, not just sit around, took an initiative to make an impact. So I feel
that's so powerful, Rebecca. The impact that you made on your community. I know you have to feel good about that. Talk to me about the book, it becoming a book, and you share a little insights on that, on how your work turned into a book. I know Magaga was talking a little about it.
Yeah. So from all the actions I've taken, so the world readers and the Ashoka developed a huge interest about my story, of a young Maasai girl striving for change in her society, and they wanted to know more about it. So they came to Beads High School, where they interviewed me about my story and how I came about all that, how I got the idea, of impacting my community. And with that, they got the whole story of me, and they actually helped me publish the book, which is now inspiring so many other young kids, not only girls, but both girls and boys. And they believe that it is very possible. Nobody is too young to make a change. However small I am, however young I am, I can, bring a change to my community.
Wow, that's so powerful. And these are change makers. I'm looking it up now. I was not familiar with the Ashoka Young Change Makers. These are people from all over the world. Like that's I'm just blown away right now. So like you two are so amazing. Magaga, can you share a little about the solar oven project you all were telling me about, which I want to highlight. I love the fact that you all are working on real projects that change the community. Magaga, you want to share a little bit about the importance of working on that work?
Yeah, sure. Before that, I wanted to add something about Rebecca is a testament of the leadership training that happens at Beats for Education. For instance, Rebecca is one of the students who was selected and participated in the Young African Scholarship Program by the Yale University. That is a leadership training program, and that she undertook. And I think that had so much to do with her skills, her courage to actually spearhead change in a community. Mm-hmm. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Good. So coming back to that, Rebecca's passion for, and other students altogether, passion for having the eyesight to look at the community from where she comes from, because that is what we champion for. We want these girls to have a way of looking at their communities, identifying one thing that they can do to make a difference. And for Rebecca, that meant looking at changing climate, making an effort towards making the environment a better place for everyone. And part of their exploration studies, that means assessing the need in the communities and asking yourself, what can I do now? Not what will I do later? What can I do now? And Rebecca and her group was like, remember, we had a very unfortunate 2 years in Kenya. That was the year 2021. There was the corona. And then after corona, we had this very, very, very devastating drought. Lots of heads of cattle died. And it was just horrible. And things were not really working for people. And so the kind of projects they were doing was like, what is happening? And they say that, well, the environment is not so good. And I think there are factors contributing to this. And one is cutting down of trees. But I like the process of them looking at the problem. For instance, they look, cutting down the trees. Why are people cutting down the trees? They are cutting down the trees to get source of fuel to cook. And mostly it is the girls and women who are tasked with the idea of walking long distances to actually look for firewood. So how can we solve the problem of cutting down of trees? For us to solve that, we need to give people alternative source of fuel, because they're not cutting down trees because of pleasure. They like it. They are cutting down trees to get this and that. So what if, I like the way they come, what if we give an alternative that uses the most abundant, free, natural resource, and that is the sun? And that is where the solar oven project took sway. That's how it was born. And yes, that is the birth of the solar oven project. Amazing. It was just from the ideas of the students and then talking about the challenges and what they can do better. I think my role,
keep going.
I think my role was just to provide people, global educators, to ask these students questions that would lead them to explore deeply what their problems or what their ideas were. So I approached various individuals from the National Science Foundation, one of them who happens to be one of the sponsors at BEADS. And I asked to be given a group of women STEM role models for these girls, to have scheduled Zoom sessions, virtual sessions with them. And in that sessions, I don't want them to bring them solutions. I just want them to listen to the girls. I want them to listen to the girls, and the girls share with them what they're trying to solve. And I needed them to ask the girls questions that are going to lead the girls to think deeply on their projects. And lucky enough, I got a series of STEM women who volunteered to have weekly sessions with people like Rebecca and other students. And this gave room to further deeper understanding of how solar oven can be built. And interestingly, one of the STEM professionals that joined there.
So Tatyana, I want to hear about the solar oven that Magaga just talked about and set up. I know you were very influential in working on that solar oven project. I want to hear from your perspective as a student who worked on it. Talk to me.
So the solar oven project, we worked with several students from the 9th grade, the 12th grade, and other students also built like an oven that can be an alternative of firewood. Because as Magaga said, the people in our community mostly cooked their food with firewood, and that involves cutting down of trees. So the solar oven, we make it from just very simple materials, that we could find around. And yeah, we managed to make the ovens and we shared them to the community, and they were so glad. Actually, what I'm very grateful is, BEADS, when Debbie was establishing BEADS, she built it somewhere close to the community. So we can always find an opportunity to look at what problem is in the community and actually solve it. So when we made the several solar ovens, we shared it among our parents and the community leaders and everyone around, and they loved the idea of it. And a lot of people in the community are now using solar ovens.
Okay. All right. Okay. So you all saw this problem, walking long distances, cutting trees. How can we rethink the whole process, adding critical thinking, teamwork, collaboration, and say, well, what if we use the natural resource that's so abundant, the solar, the sun, to create a solar oven? Am I correct? Is that right, Tatyana? Okay. I want to hear some of the materials. Like, what materials did you all use, if you can recall, to create the solar oven?
Yeah, we use materials like, this aluminum foil to like get the reflection from the sun rays. And that one could go back to the whole thing and make it somehow warm, so that you can, as you're making your food, you need heat to make your food. So we did that, and we started by testing with things like eggs, because that's the easiest thing to, cook. And first, it wasn't that effective, but as time went by, we looked for other ways on making the oven effective.
I love it. So a group of of young social entrepreneurs, girls in Kenya create this idea, and then you take it back to the community. And so you said now people are using solar ovens in the community. What are they cooking on these solar ovens? I'm curious.
Have you ever heard of ugali?
I have not. No, I have not. So what is that? Explain it to me.
It's like made from maize flour, okay. And we make ugali. You just make it so I don't know how to explain it, but it's always something eaten you eat it alongside with maybe stew. Ugali is one of the things. Ugali is one of the things that they use in making them. Yeah,
that's incredible. That's incredible. Magaga, you want to add something to that?
Yeah, it always brings me joy when I hear them speak. I just want to be on the side and just hear them explain this, because it's one of the projects I'm so proud of. And by the way, it's kept being developed. Right now, we had months ago, we have an engineer from Ellen MacArthur Foundation who showed interest and are working with the girls with principles on how to improve the solar oven. And it's amazing. I can't wait for the prototype, the new improved model to come out. That would be super exciting.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's amazing. And I think I would want to shine light on the role of mentorship. It is amazing because I always tell them I am just a teacher, but that doesn't make me the master of all the information, of all the ideas, because I am a teacher, that I know everything. It's always important to question everything and have the ability to research, show interest, curiosity, because, I've always been the learner in the classroom in so many ways. When these girls are working on a particular project, at the end of the day, I walk out, I didn't know that. How did I get that? It's because of this and this and this. And I find that so rewarding to actually approach teaching with a mindset that you could also learn something. And oftentimes that has always been the case. And the mentorship program is that we have initiated a way that these girls get both local mentorship and international mentorship. And we've also given them a platform where they get to speak. There is three things that actually matter the most to me. That is choice, voice, and creativity. Choice, voice, and creativity, meaning you always have an opinion, but do you have the voice to bring this opinion? There are always lots of choices in every time or every place you be it at home, but how do you make the right choice and use your voice to stand on the choice? And creativity is what makes life better. Knowing that what we know today, we can improve it. We can be innovative and improve it and do it better. So I think I love the first time that I got to learn the most is when I was given the chance to be the communication and outreach for Beats for Education. That simply meant that I was supposed to be the voice for the organization. But I questioned myself, what if I could empower these girls to actually speak about themselves, about their challenges? And through the network of educational friends, I got to meet this incredible organization called Thinking With You. The name itself really struck out because I wanted somebody to think with me. So Thinking With You, I reached out to them and I was like, okay, can you think with me towards developing or coming up with a project or a workshop that is going to empower girls to be the one to speak to the global audience? So we organized our workshops in 3 workshops where these girls, we gathered all our global friends and they had like 3 virtual workshops where they are going to share the challenges with the global audience and get their perspectives. This is where I got my biggest lesson. One student who is not here came and told me that I had a talk with Jennifer. So Jennifer is one of the sponsors and is a Broadway producer in New York, very successful. I had a talk with Jennifer, and while I thought Jennifer was on the top of her game, like so successful, I was surprised to learn that Jennifer also faced some challenges that I'm facing as a young girl. So some of the problems we are facing are universal, and it's just about how we tackle them. that was quite impactful, me hearing from a young girl. So I think what that speaks to me is how can we form an education system where we don't see these students as kids, but as potential adults who we can engage in a conversation and they feel like they have what they say really matter. Do we actually listen to what they got to say? Do we actually let their voices lead? And do we actually empower them to feel like to actually believe that all those little ideas brought together through teamwork and collaboration, amazing things can come into place? And you've just witnessed from their stories, from their group work, and what that really means. So how then can we reimagine education to give voices to young people? Thank you.
That's so powerful. My follow-up question to that, and I want to hear all of you answer this, but Magaga, you start first. To educate a girl is to educate a nation. What does that mean to you?
Good. To me, I will respond to that question in this way. An empowered, an educated girl will most certainly make education a priority to all her children, both boys and girls. And an educated girl will feel empowered to show love, because I don't know why I'm biased, but I want to believe, having been raised by very compassionate women in my life, I think women have genuine, most touching love. And sometimes I feel like they don't feel empowered enough to show their love to the people that they truly love. So I think like an educated woman will most certainly look for opportunities within the communities that can also empower those that they truly care about. So yes, an educated woman will most likely make education a priority to all the young that she truly care about. Children, both boys and girls.
Yeah. Rebecca, Tatyana, would you all like to?
So I actually love what Mr. Magaga has said, and I would use my mom as an example too. So when I was to join bids for education, when my dad was actually against the idea, the person who supported this idea was my mom. So the fact that she supports education and her herself is not really educated means really a lot. What if she had acquired the education? I mean, that would be, if we could all imagine, that would be really, really amazing. So let's look at it this way. Girls have been given a chance to go grab the chance to be educated. And everyone believes that, yes, previously we were educating, but now we are seeing the sense in letting the girls get the education as well. So right now, the education for girls has been prioritized, because previously, as Mr. Magaga had said, the chance was given to only boys. And right now, it's girls. Now that girls have been given the opportunity, then the great ideas we have, the great projects we are doing back in our community is showing and proving to them that, yes, with the education with the girls, our community is benefiting. And so after educating us, more of us can get back there and bring more change. Yes, our voice is nowadays being heard and things are working out different. Girls are coming out and proving them wrong that, yes, with us, change is there.
That's so good. Tatyana?
Yes, when you educate a girl, the community benefits. Like the community around Beads, it benefited from projects like the solar oven. What if that school wasn't founded and there was just land there? So you see, having that girls' school around has benefited the community. Another thing I can say is like, you see how education in our community is mostly for boys. Now when they see girls in there, they work more harder because they're always like, no, a girl can't be on top of that. Gaining more knowledge brings an impact in the world, and not in a bad way, but they just love that challenge of being around girls. Like you find in most STEM careers, it's mostly boys.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. You all approached it from different perspectives, and I appreciate that we do need to continue that journey of educating our girls, our women, so that we can have that extra perspective that is needed for that innovation like the solar oven and the climate change petitions and the things you all were leading as well, Rebecca. Magaga, man, you are doing the work. I knew this episode was going to be incredible, and you just kept adding to it. You were like, you know what? I have 2 rock stars. I can't do it unless I bring Tatyana and Rebecca on with me. So I'm grateful for you for adding their voices into this space. I think it's going to be profound for everyone who's listening. My last question, Magaga, I ask this to everyone. Super curious to hear your perspective. What's your vision for the future of career in tech education?
Good. I'm so happy you asked me that. I also do ask people that I meet a lot of that question. I ask it, what's your blue sky? What is your blue sky? So that's another way to put it. Well, I think my vision is to align education with economic empowerment and job creation. And I want girls' empowerment too to be the center of my work. And I must say, I am super excited. Having worked, I think, almost a decade in this community, I'm super excited and motivated with the success stories that we're having. And I feel like I don't have to do all the work right now. I feel like Rebecca, Tatyana, and the likes of her are taking over and spearing the change and calling an empowerment and making headlines. And that, we can't ask for more as educators. We can't ask for more. So in my space and time, I am going to continue envisioning how to better align education with economic empowerment and job creation, not only in Kenya, but actually I'm going viral in Africa.
I like it. There it is. Yeah, we're going to spread this all across the country of Kenya, all across the continent of Africa. And you all are truly the inspiration, Rebecca and Tatyana, for other girls and other women to look at, to see the opportunities that are available and the impact that can be made with your ideas. Magaga, quick fun question, surprise for you. So my friend, our mutual friend, Corey Moan from the CAPS Network, allowed him to have a guest question for you. And in true Corey fashion, he has something surprising. So you all asked me earlier, Tatyana, did I know about your traditional food that you were eating in Kenya? So Corey's question for you, Magaga, is what is your favorite Girl Scout cookie? And I have let me see. Hold on. Give me a second. Hold on.
Right.
Actually, yeah, he said, what's your favorite Girl Scout cookie? So these are Girl Scout cookies.
Okay.
Girl Scout cookies.
Wait, I love this one. I don't know the name, but it just struck me when I saw the word STEM written on it. STEM, leadership, and creativity. Well, anyway, in terms of taste, I love all the Girl Scout cookies. in terms of the packaging, the one that has got a very bold STEM print in yellow, that was close to my heart, really, because I felt recognized in my work, because I'm passionate about STEM.
You said the one that was yellow, you said? Let me see if I can find it. Which one is the yellow? I think it's the lemon ups, I think it's the lemon flavored Girl Scout cookie. Yeah. So that's your favorite one. That's cool. I have to let Corey know that you said that. Yep. Well, hey, thank you all thank you for your time today.
And we have.
Go ahead, Magaga. What were you going to say?
Did you get it?
Yes.
Did you get it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that was good. That was good. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you all for your time today. Rebecca, Tatyana, Magaga, this has been a powerful episode. For everyone listening, I know you were inspired today. Girls' education is the future, so let's keep pushing it forward. STEM work you all are doing, keep it going. And for all our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend. Don't be selfish. This information needs to be shared. So much wisdom was dropped here today. And until the next episode, remember, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Global CTE Podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to be the first to know about future episodes.